Hello, this is Roshni Venugopal and this is my system software and compiler lab experiment number 5. In this experiment, I will be showing the simulation of deterministic finite automata. So for this experiment, this is the sample input and output. So over here, we have to take the number of states and terminals as input from the user, as well as the whole transition table also we have to take as input from the user. And when the user enters a string, we have to check if that particular string will be accepted by this DFA transition table. So let's see how this works. In the beginning, I have given a scanner class, scanner object, and then these are the variables that have been declared, and this is the transition table. After that, I have asked the user to enter the number of states. So suppose if he enters, suppose in this question I have 4 transition states, so 4. And then the person is asked for the number of enter the states. So I will enter them A, B, C and D. And now the number of terminals here is 2, little a and little b. So I'll be doing that now. Little a and little b. Enter the starting state. So here the starting state is capital A and final state is D. Enter the transition A with small a, B, A, B, C, D, D, B and A. So this is my transition table as stated in the question. Now I'll be given the input as AABB, and so we can see that the string has been accepted as required. Now suppose I want to enter another string, we can do that like this. The string is not accepted accordingly. So I'll tell you how this program has been done. First of all, we have asked the user to enter the number of states here, and suppose that in this example it was 4. So 4 has been stored in this int variable st. Now it is used to make a string array of size 4 and store it in sta array. Now I will ask the user to enter the states what he desires, and then these are stored in the sta array. Now after that, I have taken the terminals as input and displayed them. That is, enter the number of terminals, it will be stored in t, and t, that is 2, and a terminal array has been created here. Now all these terminals that are entered by the user will be saved in an array, that is ter, and it will be outputted here. Now next I have asked the user to enter the starting and the final state. That will be done here. And the transition table is created here using a 2-dimensional array, and it is saved in this array. Now next one, here I have just shown the output for the transition table that I have done using 2 for loops. In the first for loop, in the first for loop I have printed the terminal line, and another for loop I have given, for first of all it starts with the states, and in the inner for loop I have given the transition tables, whatever is in the content. Now we'll be taking input from the user. Now for doing taking multiple inputs from the user, I have given a do while loop. So first, when the person enters the input, it will be stored in the variable input and split using the split function according to the space, not the spaces, that is the according to each letter that has been given by the user, and it will be stored in the input in array. Over here, now what we basically are doing is we are changing the current state according to the input that has been given by the user for each input. That is, suppose in this example it was AABB. So for A, when it checks, the current state is obviously variable a as given by the user. So in this, let's see how this works. So in the outer for loop, I'm giving in dot length, that is the input, whatever is my input, that is in this case it is AABB, that will be taken and as the outer for loop. And inner two for loops I have given, one for storing the terminal, the terminal that has been that is present in the input. Now for example, it was AABB. So in the input, if the input first terminal is equal to any of the terminals in the terminal array, then that value will be assigned, the terminal pointer value will be assigned to the variable k, and it will break there and continue with the next loop, that is this loop. And in this loop we will check what is there in the the current state, if it is equal to the state that is currently there in the array, then it will assign L as the current input and break the loop. So over here we can see the current state that we'll be using is transition table of LK, that is L is the state, the row, and the terminal will give us the column. So that way we will determine what is the current state, and for each for loop it will the current state will keep changing. At the end we will check if the current state is equal to the final state. That will tell us if our input has been the input variable finally reaches the final state or not. So if current state is equal to the final state, then the string is accepted, else the string is not accepted. And for continuing the do while loop, I have taken an option from the user if he wants to enter another string, and if the option is equal to 1, this loop will continue. And therefore the same for the same transition table, the user can check different inputs. Thank you.